I just want you. I just.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Orbit Pinzel here. If you didn't already know, I just joined Orbit. It's good to be here. It's good to be in the clan or team, whatever you want to call it. Nowadays, back in the days, they used to call it clan. Now they call it teams. It's whatever. It doesn't matter to me. So I just got a quick tutorial here for you guys, for anyone wanting to know how to do a quick color correction. I got a nice scene here. One's kind of lighter, like it's in the day, and then I got a scene that's darker. And I used Holiday Crash for this one, or Christmas Crash, or whatever you want to call it for this one, just because it's a darker scene, but it still looks kind of nice, which I kind of want to work with a little bit, especially if you guys are out there editing some MWR darker scenes, or like Christmas Crash like this. You're editing these kind of types of videos. There will be darker scenes that I just want to help you guys out with, and this is probably one of the lighter scenes in MWR. Like the brightness in this scene, in this whole map, is crazy with that flare and that sun up there. It's kind of crazy. So I'm just gonna get started here, guys. So I guess we'll start off first with the darker scene. I just have a clip here that I froze, so now you have just a single layer. Just for tutorial purposes, you guys will not have a froze layer. You will have a clip that you're editing, and then you will have a color correction on top of it. So first off, I'm just going to go straight and make a new adjustment layer. I'll call this color correction if I can here, or just CC. CC's fine. And it changed on me. Okay, great, awesome. That'll do it. Alright, and what I'm first going to do is I'm probably going to pop into my effects and presets and just type in sharpen. And I'm going to double click that, and I'm probably going to put it to anywhere around 15 to 30 is kind of where I'd put it. I'll show you 15, sharpen it up quite a bit, and then 30 in this scene might be way too much. I'm thinking 15 almost looks blurry, almost, and then you put the sharpen in there and it just pops everything. So that's what I like to start out with, especially when I'm making a CC, because it just makes everything pop. Like even in the clips, a lot of the clips, they're not fine, as you'd say. Like the edges aren't as fine as they should be, and that just helps sharpen everything up, if you can just see that. And now I'm going to just go over to my effects and presets again. Maybe I'll type in looks. I will drag that in. And I'm going to leave that there for a minute, and I'm going to go back into my effects and presets again and type in curves. I do have a preset for basic curves, but I will just show you what that technically is. All it is switched on to RGB, taking this little slider here, pull that down, and this is what it did. So technically what I did is I darkened the darks and I brightened the brights, so it just kind of makes the scene a little different. It changes it up for sure, and it looks almost washboardy, and then once you put that on there, it kind of makes the scene look way better, especially with those Christmas lights up there. It looks amazing with that. That's not bad. Alright, so then I'm just going to pop into looks, and even if you guys don't have this magic bullet looks, it's fine. You can just use curves and sharpen and some vibrance and some saturation, and that will actually make a perfectly scene. Like this isn't a bad color correction right now. I've already changed it quite a bit from what it was. Like the original's right there. This is the new one. Like the sky, just look at the gun, the scope of the gun. It's completely changed, even just with a basic curves and a sharpen. But I'm just going to go into Magic Bullet Looks and change a few more things into the color side of the things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Post, Colorista, pull that down, take the Shadows color wheel and pull that into the blues. And wow, okay, I'm not going to want it that dark. Pull that down. And what I'm doing essentially is I'm making the shadows more blue. That's basically all that is. And then what I'm doing is technically what the curves is doing is, with all these, I'm taking the highlights and shoving them up. I'm taking the shadows and shoving them down. But at the same time, I'm also recoloring the scene like the shadows, not quite that blue, that's just ugly, but I'm recoloring them, right? Like I'm totally taking them and changing them. So the original, and then just darken that just a little bit. And you can already see, like, this is the scene we started out with. I believe this is, it doesn't account for the sharpen and the curves already, so this is just like the original. So when you put on that, it just looks, wow, bang, it looks amazing. So then what I'm gonna do is maybe just put up the highlights just a little bit, and you can kind of just eyeball a lot of this stuff. Like, it's kind of just how you feel the scene should be, especially for your type of edit, how the feel you want. Like if you want a wrap, usually you want a darker, more gray scene, and that's when you would totally put these right down. But that's not what we want, so we're just going to look at how we want that. So there's the original again, and then the blue scene. So that's all I'm going to do in that. And now you can see that that has immensely changed the whole scene of this edit. Like, even the clip, like, it just looks amazing. Okay, so that's gonna be it. That's just a really simple one for dark. Like, it's nothing special, but it looks amazing. Usually you don't want to overcorrect, especially if you're doing team edits. You don't want to overcorrect, and if you just notice, it can bring your attention. I just noticed this now. This golden piece on the back of the gun here, it looks way better with a correction on. Way better. Just like the overall reflection of it looks amazing. Okay, so now we're just gonna go back, and I'm going to show you a brighter scene. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to pull out an adjustment layer again, and then we're going to do the exact same thing almost, but we're just going to, it's basically the same, it's just changing the scene so that the brights are a little less, they're more dark. I don't like the too bright, it almost looks washboardy. So for example, I'll pull in the levels here, and a sharpen. So I'm just going to throw that sharpen back onto 15 again, and see that, and then you can go 30. See that? That is a lot of sharpen. I would not recommend that much sharpen unless you're doing something where it is quite neat. Like, sometimes you'll know, you can just eyeball it technically, and you'll know how much sharpen you need. Like, that's immensely a subtle change, but I like it. So now what I mean about this, like the bright popping out, like if you have, it almost looks like this, like the white is too much, right? So if you bring the darks down, this would be like the opposite. This is like the Christmas scene. It's too dark. Like, it looks like this. So what I want to do is I want to actually just play with this levels a little bit, and it kind of changes it from washboardy to a little less washboardy, like a little less white. It's almost like it's got a solid white layer on it, and it's just, oh, it just looks awful. You just throw in that little bit of levels, and it's already immensely changed the way the scene looks and everything about the overall clip. The game, I mean, if we could do this to the game, it would look way better, but we can't do it to the game. Just have to do it after. So next I will just pop in and add the curves in. When I go into the effects and presets, pop in that to the adjustment layer. Same thing, toss the brights up a little bit and toss the darks down a little bit. So overall that didn't do a whole heck of a lot, but it did do a lot to the smoke and the trees. Like, and a lot of the gun detail too comes back when you pop that curves in there and those little, that little slant. So that's pretty simple, and then we're just gonna pop in another lux again for this bright scene, and then we will edit this, and then I will show you what it looks at the end, and then we'll be done. So go into post again. So there's what I mean: subject, matte, lens, camera, post. So on post, you go down, you can scroll up or down, find colorista, click, drag it into post, and we're gonna do the exact same thing almost. So you take the shadows and you turn them blue. That's overly blue. Pull that up and kind of just eyeball that. So yeah, it's there. Look at that already. It already looks I like that little blue tint on everything. It looks amazing. Makes everything, because this is kind of like a very dry orangish yellow scene, like and just popping that blue in there makes it look completely different. Like there's the dried out yellow orangish kind of scene, and then you have this little blue, and the shadows just wow. So like what I mean by the orangish, if you pop this up, for example, this is what it looks like technically. This is an over exaggeration of the yellow scene, but it is technically like that. And then what you want is just maybe pop that a little bit, hold the highlight up again, and then midtones we don't really have to mess with, but I'm just gonna a little bit. So it's very subtle, very, 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 very subtle, but I mean, it makes it look totally different. To me, if you have that sharpen in there, it brings out the texture in the weapon and the scene around it. So you put that on, then you have that levels, that whole washboardy look. It's very important to have that levels, and that curves even. Like without the curves help take that washboard out a little bit, but the levels completely changes the scene, which you really need. Like it's very important to have the levels, because I mean, this is what we would have without the levels. This is what it would look like, and this is what it would look like with the levels. Without the levels, without anything. So this is the original scene with some of the sharp and the curves and the looks, and then with the levels, completely change the whole scene, which is like, it's amazing. So that's it for today, guys. I will save these presets and put them in a download link in the description. If you don't feel like editing and trying to go through this tutorial and looking at how to do some of these simpler things, they will be in there, and they're fully customizable. Like you can play with these, you can pull them up too high, too low. That's awful looking, but yeah, you can change this however you want. Like it's fully customizable. If you want, if your scene is a little darker than this and it's not as light as, because this is a very light scene, you just pull, like this is how you bring the lights up. This is how you bring the darks down. So you can bring the darks down if the scene's a little lighter. If it's less lighter, you just bring it up a little bit, or you bring the lights up. So you can see it really changes like the scene in the sun completely. But yeah, we'll just not mess around with that anymore. So thanks everyone for watching. If you guys haven't already checked out these videos, the one on the left is my Red RC submission, and the one on the right is a color correction pack. It's free to use, so please download it. So just check that out, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later. Peace.